Ever get that feeling? Like deep down, there's more to the world than we see, like a whole hidden layer just waiting to be discovered.
A hidden world, maybe even.
Exactly. And today, we're diving into one man's absolute certainty that he'd found it inside the Earth itself.
A hollow Earth?
You got it. This wasn't just some fringe idea either. We're talking about John Cleves Symmes, a former U.S. Army captain back in the early 1800s.
Not your typical scientist, then.
Not at all. But he had this theory that the Earth wasn't solid, but hollow, like a giant ball with openings at the North and South poles.
Openings you could actually travel through.
That's what he believed. He even said all those animals that disappear from the Arctic each winter, they weren't migrating, they were heading into this inner world.
Okay, that's a new one. So how did he try to prove this?
Well, Symmes was a man on a mission. He wrote and published these pamphlets, called them circulars, laying out his whole theory.
Like early scientific blogging.
Exactly. But he didn't stop there. This guy traveled the country, giving lectures, painting these vivid pictures of a world inside our own with its own sun and everything.
He sounds like quite the showman.
He really was. But the thing is, as wild as it seems now, he wasn't the first to think this way.
Really? The hollow Earth idea goes back further than that?
Oh, yeah. Think about those old maps, the ones from the 1600s with sea monsters and all that.
I love those maps. Beautiful, but not exactly geographically accurate.
Exactly. But some of them, they depict the North Pole, not as a point on the globe, but as this giant whirlpool.
A whirlpool sucking the ocean inwards? Like a portal to somewhere else?
You got it. It's like those cartographers were already toying with the idea of a hollow Earth, even back then.
So it wasn't just Symmes with this out there theory. Were any respected scientists considering this too?
Believe it or not, yeah. Johannes Kepler, the one who figured out the laws of planetary motion.
No way. Kepler thought the Earth was hollow.
Well, not exactly hollow, but he wrote about planets, including ours, potentially being made up of these concentric spheres, like Russian nesting dolls.
Okay, that's pretty wild. Anyone else?
Get this, Edmund Halley.
Wait, as in Halley's Comet, Halley?
The one and only. Back in the late 1600s, he suggested the Earth might not be solid at all, but actually 3 nested spheres, each spinning on its own, with the possibility of life on the inner surfaces.
Life inside the Earth. It's mind-blowing, even if it sounds crazy now.
Totally. So you can see, Symmes wasn't just coming up with this out of thin air. He was tapping into a whole history of speculation about what lies beneath our feet.
It makes you wonder, what was it about this idea, this image of a world within our world that captured the imaginations of so many for so long?
And that's just what we're going to explore as we delve deeper into the strange and surprisingly influential story of Symmes' hollow Earth theory. So we've got Symmes, armed with his circulars, traveling the country, spreading the word about this hollow Earth. But he wasn't content with just talking about it.
No, he wanted proof.
Exactly. He petitions Congress, the U.S. Congress, to fund an expedition to the North Pole.
Wow. To find this supposed opening to the inner Earth, what did Congress think about that?
You can imagine. While he got some interest, even a few votes, they weren't about to send an expedition to find a giant hole at the top of the world.
Probably a good call, in hindsight. But here's where it gets really interesting. Even though Symmes never got his expedition, his ideas had this weird influence on real exploration.
You mean people actually went looking for this hollow Earth?
Not exactly, but Symmes's ideas inspired someone who had a big impact on Antarctic exploration, Jeremiah N. Reynolds.
Antarctica? I thought we were talking about the North Pole.
We were, but Reynolds, he got caught up in the idea of this hidden world, this potential for discovery at the South Pole.
So even if Symmes wasn't right, he was sparking people's imagination.
Exactly. Reynolds became a huge advocate for Antarctic exploration, pushing for U.S.-funded expeditions.
Did it work? Did they send anyone down there?
They did. In 1829, the Anawan and the Seraph set sail. It was a privately funded trip, but they had some government support, which shows the growing interest in Antarctica at the time.
So Symmes' ideas, even if indirectly, helps make that happen.
That's one way to look at it. And then there was this major expedition, the United States Exploring Expedition, led by Lieutenant Charles Wilkes from 1838 to 1842. This was a big deal. Multiple ships, a whole team of scientists.
Wow. That's quite the change from a few pamphlets and lectures. Did they find Symmes' hollow Earth?
No giant hole in the South Pole, I'm afraid. But they did significantly expand our knowledge of the region, which is pretty important.
It's amazing how an idea, even if it turns out to be wrong, can have that kind of ripple effect. But there's one more piece of the Symmes puzzle we have to talk about, a novel called Sympsonia. A Voyage of Discovery, published in 1820.
Simsonia, what's that got to do with Symmes?
Well, it was published under a pseudonym, Captain Adam Seaborn. But some scholars think Symmes himself might have written it.
No way. He wrote a whole novel about his theory. What's it about?
It's presented as a true account of a voyage to the Hollow Earth, describing this advanced civilization living inside.
A whole civilization? What are they like?
Think utopian society, peaceful, technologically advanced. It really captures the imagination.
I bet. But was it meant to be taken literally? Was Symmes trying to convince people this place was real, or was there an element of satire to it?
That's the million-dollar question. Some scholars say it's a straightforward exploration of his theory. Others think it's a satire of society at the time, maybe even both.
It's like this mystery wrapped in an enigma, and it makes you think about the power of stories, how they can capture these big ideas and present them in a way that sticks with people.
And Symmes' story, as you'll see, didn't end with him. His ideas, his books, they went on to have a life of their own, inspiring other writers and thinkers in ways you might not expect. We've been tracing the path of Symmes' Hollow Earth theory and its impact. It's incredible how an idea, even if considered scientifically inaccurate now, held such sway, and it wasn't just Symmes himself, was it?
It's remarkable how his legacy extended beyond his lifetime.
His ideas resonated, particularly with someone close to home.
His son, Americus Symmes. He became a fervent advocate, picking up the mantle decades after John Cleves Symmes passed away.
Talk about family dedication. How did Americus carry the torch? Did he publish his own circulars, captivating audiences with tales of a world below?
While Americus might not have replicated his father's approach exactly, he was equally driven to share those ideas. In 1878, he published a book, The Symmes Theory of Concentric Spheres.
A whole book dedicated to a hollow Earth, especially after so many scientific advancements. What was he hoping to achieve?
It served a dual purpose. First, ensuring his father's work wasn't lost. The Symmes Theory of Concentric Spheres compiled and republished all of John Cleves Symmes' writings on the subject, a complete archive.
A way of preserving his father's legacy, keeping those ideas alive. But he didn't stop there, did he?
No, he also used the book as a platform, a call to action. He wanted another expedition to the North Pole.
Ah, the hope of proving this hidden world remains strong. Did anyone rise to the challenge?
Unfortunately for Americus, no. By the late 19th century, the scientific community had largely moved on.
Those expeditions we discussed, mapping the Antarctic, they revealed a lot about Earth's geography.
And none of it supported massive polar openings.
I suppose those would be hard to miss. Despite his efforts, the evidence wasn't in his favor.
Indeed. But while the Hollow Earth theory might be considered scientifically inaccurate today, it doesn't diminish the impact of both Symmes.
They remind us, questioning, imagining alternatives, even if inaccurate, can drive exploration and discovery.
Think of it. Symmes' ideas, unconventional as they were, sparked a wave of curiosity about those polar regions.
Leading to real expeditions, expanding our knowledge, even if not in the way he envisioned.
Precisely. His legacy shows exploration is fueled as much by imagination and a thirst for the unknown as by scientific certainty.
It's those what-ifs, those outlandish ideas that sometimes push us beyond the familiar.
To venture into uncharted territories, and isn't that exciting? That there's always something new to uncover, to challenge us, to expand our understanding of the world and ourselves within it.
It makes you wonder, what ideas we accept now might be challenged by future generations? What seemingly impossible discoveries are waiting just beyond our current understanding?
That's the beauty of exploration, both intellectual and physical. It's a journey without a true end. There's always something more to learn, to question, to explore.
And as we conclude this deep dive into Symmes' Hollow Earth, it seems fitting to carry that spirit forward, to appreciate the power of curiosity, the allure of the unknown, and the unexpected legacies that even unconventional ideas can leave behind.
John Cleves Symmes might not have found his hidden world within our own, but he showed us that the greatest journeys are often those that take us beyond the known and into the limitless realm of imagination.
So to our listeners, we leave you with this. What uncharted territories of knowledge will you explore? What seemingly impossible ideas will you dare to dream? Keep that sense of wonder alive, and who knows what incredible discoveries await.